call their parents so that you can check, hey, were your kids actually in the program? So that they can check to make sure the public money is being spent properly. That's probably something that would be fair for a town to request.
Well,
I'm not saying that that means that they can withhold money that they said that you would have earned already, and I'm not saying that that means that the youth council shouldn't continue to operate and keep the privacy of the children, but usually if we're looking after public funds, they are allowed to audit, and at least look at names in order to call to see whether or not people are going.
but didn't they say in here somewhere that you offered them a list of names with just the first letter of the last name?
I offered.
And that wasn't good enough.
That was not good enough.
Well, it would be tough for them
First
potentially
name,
to.
well, I wanted to do first name, last initial. 24 kids, it's a very small town.
Yeah.
When you have two kids with different first names and the same last initial, it'll take you about 3 seconds to figure out their brothers and who they are. I thought that was fair. I can't, I mean, if I make up Jim Smith, I mean, if I'm making up names, I mean, you can see right on the list, and I made that list, and that was not acceptable.
And when you reached out to us, when we reached out to our council, you said you've talked to some of the parents, and they weren't happy with it.
I spoke with, when this first came about, there's several parents who work in the district, and I teach in Cattaraugus, and I said to them, this was just me, and I may be completely wrong, but I said to them, do you feel comfortable with me giving this information? And all of them said, I don't understand why they need it, I don't want them to call me. My son attends a program. If one of you just randomly called me and said, Bryce, your 6-year-old son, can you come to swim lessons? I'd be like, excuse me? I felt uncomfortable, and I never signed anything saying that I would provide what I feel is personal information. We have notarized papers, we keep them on file, it has all their medical information. At the end, after I've done all my paperwork, it's been submitted, we get the email or something in writing saying, yes, the funding was, our funding was accepted, I did my job. I go, I shred everything, all of the medical forms, I shred it, and even if you've done this program for 12 years, you have to fill out a brand new form every single year. Because it's confidential, and I'm not just gonna give it out if I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Common sense, I mean, I guess, where's
But I
the
understand what
legality?
you're saying.
The existence of children in the program in and of itself may be something that parents are sensitive to, and for good reasons. That being said, I'm not familiar with anything protecting that specific fact. And the board would potentially use that fact to audit, and so if they ask for it, it seems reasonable, and, if a court were to say, hey, trustee asks for this information from an employee, which you're an independent contractor or an employee, one way or the other. For municipalities, they use that to keep tabs on you. Are you running?
I understand.
Yeah.
I completely
So
understand.
probably would be seen as a reasonable request, and one that, at least in a small amount of research that I've done, I don't think is barred by any privacy laws. And so that it's probably something the board could request of you. Now, when you're talking about health certificates, you're talking about health records of any of the kids, there are lots of protections for those.
Yeah.
And you certainly would not be handing those over to other people unless there were very clear documents from the parents that say, yeah, you can release this, no, you can't release that. But the names probably are not protected, though I do understand absolutely why you would want to protect them. But the town board, and you can ask for it to be kept, your is only confidential, this is not to be made public for FOIL requests or anything.
I guess this bottom line question is, okay, and let's just change it up a little bit, let's say that, we pay you a certain amount, but we don't have a written contract with you. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say.
Yes.
I can at any point say, well, I'm gonna change it up, and I'm gonna say, this is now your duty at any time I want to, and then if you tell me that you can't do it because that was not what we shook a hand on earlier, because we didn't write anything down, I can just pull your money from you and say, that's cool.
For any duties that she already performed, then she would still be owed payment for that.
That's what
So,
I'm saying.
yeah, she's owed that.
The
And
last
it's only a
15
question as to whether or not, going forward, there's new or additional duties or changes to the duties. And then after the new expectations are laid out, if she then doesn't meet them, whether or not there's some type of penalty. But that being said, typically you agree to hire somebody, you have to pay them.
Well, exactly. I
And
mean,
if this is work you've already done and they already agreed to pay you in the past, they owe you the money and there's no problem with gifting public funds.
that's where I'm at with it. I mean, East Ottawa's already pulled out, so.
They're out,
set a
they done
precedent
their
for
own?
it.
East Ottawa's done from this.
Yeah, so they're the ones that wanted the list, they've already pulled out, I mean, I don't see it.
They
There's no
have
precedent.
not wanted to participate in the program for several years.
Yes.
It says here, what, 4 years?
Several years. They feel that the amount of money that they spend per child is way too much for the 2,500, 3,000. It varies just depending on what we need for funding. They feel that that amount of money is too much for the amount of children that attend. And they have not wanted to do it for several years. But they
Now, you do take attendance when they show up for their swimming lessons or?
Correct.
Now, is it broken down by each municipality, so Village Cattaraugus, Town of Otto, Town of New Ulm, stuff like that?
Yes, I have daily logs that I put together for each of my lifeguards, as well as like a health medical section, because all of my lifeguards are Red Cross certified.
Okay.
So I kind of look after the Red Cross. That's just kind of how we've always done it. So I use a woman in Randolph. She's a PE teacher from Randolph, and she runs all of my classes at Wildwood for first aid, CPR, life saving course. So through her, she's given me the websites and contacts. So I've printed off like an injury log, like I keep all of that for each individual town. Because when I do reporting, just recently, for the past few years, we are now one program. I used to have to do 4 packets, Otto, East Otto, New Albany, and Cattaraugus, because it was the 4 towns coming together. Over the past few years, funding has changed, a lot has changed, and we are now one unit. We
Okay.
are the Cattaraugus Area Youth Council.
Okay.
It's what they call us. So now we are one group. So I only have to fill out 1 packet now. It incorporates all the towns because Rose does, the pool is in this area, so she does our payroll. So they have called it the Cattaraugus Area Youth Council.
Okay.
So because of that, I only have to do 1 packet, but I still break down the towns by how many kids there are. We take attendance by that. They're leveled. So when they come to swim, we give them a swim test, all from the Red Cross. All the skills are by the Red Cross. We give them their swimming test to see approximately where they're at. And then I have binders for each of my lifeguards that are put together by the Red Cross that are the different skills. And once you've met that skill, you've moved on to, you just move up from there. And then at the end, we give a certificate so you see where your child started and where your child ended.
So the state, though, doesn't require any of the child's information for the funding of the program, correct?
All that I'm asked to do for the state is as a group, all 4 towns, I have to put how many boys there are, how many girls there are, and then it's broken by age, like 0 to 5, 6 to 10, and actually right now it's 12 kids, but there's nothing specific that,
About the individual
What-
child themselves?
no.
What is that funding that she's submitting this paperwork for? That funding is to refund the money that the towns pay.
Some of it. In the past, each town got a small amount. It varied every single year. I know. In the past, it was quite a bit. As the years have gone by, they've started pulling money back. They don't want to give out as much money to little programs like us. It was about $286 a town. Now that we're one program, the Cattaraugus Area Youth Council, we receive $1,065. So I do 5 packets throughout the year to get approximately $1,000 for summer swim of a budget that's close to $20,000, incorporating everything.
So if you were here at a meeting throughout the year or swim season, and they asked you to come in for a meeting and say there was a question about attendance, if you could bring in a sheet and say, here, on this date, I had these students here, here's the attendance sheet,
Yes.
and show them, and that should be good enough, I mean, they're getting showed right there.
That's how I have it broken up. I have Otto, East Otto, I have it written on there, and then I have, because the kids only come on 2 days a week.
Are there names on that attendance sheet?
On the attendance sheet, yes, because we have to keep the attendance for certificates and leveling. So
Would you
we do
be,
that.
would you be willing to show a board that sheet as proof of attendance?
If it's on my list of duties, if you tell me I have, yeah, I mean, if it was requested, if you gave me a list of my responsibilities, you're responsible to do this, this, this. My job at school, I signed a contract that says right in there what I have to do.
Right.
If I don't follow it,
There should be one for you as well.
I'm in trouble. For this,
That is-
I've been told what to do. Beth McIntyre used to do it. I'm in charge now, and Mr. Wyson is a wonderful person. He would say, okay, what do you want to do? I mean, everybody did it. That's just the way it ran. It's because
This is the only hiccup that we've run
this is the
into
only
14
problem I
14
have
years,
ever
first
had.
time.
I've never had a single, I've never called the ambulance. I've never had, I've never had an issue ever. This is the only time I've ever had an issue with swim.
All right, so move forward, there's no reason for Ms. Corbin not to be paid for the services that she's done.
According to the information that you provided me, it sounds like you already performed the work, that you had expectations that were different back when you performed the work than expectations you were later given that you may or may not have met. And so, yeah, that being the case, previous work she already did, expectations had not yet changed, she should be paid for that work.
All right, so
As to
can I-
whether or not you meet future expectations, those, you can ask for them to be in writing. You probably can't require them to be in writing unless it's something like, it's in writing, I don't do it. And I understand that, and that's totally fair as an employee or contractor, and you want to consider it. But you can't require it to be in writing and say that you won't do it unless it's in writing. If other people pay for what you're doing, they have the power, if they have the power to pay you, they have the power to fire you. And they can say whether or not it's going to be in writing, but you totally should ask for it.
All right, so first off, to
That's
address
show
one of the
next
issues
one.
then, is can I have a motion to pay Ms. Corbin and the rest of the remaining funds that are owed to her
I'll make
for
the
the
Yes, I'll second.
service of last year?
Was that Ward or Bo that seconded?
It
I
was,
did.
yeah.
Mark
Jason
second.
made
The answer is
motion.
yes, Rose.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous, carried and approved. Option, or second thing, now in regards to this year, and what we have going on. Are we even ready and prepared for everything that's supposed to start come July 6th?
Can it be ready? Yes. After the situation that I encountered this year, in one of my emails, I hope you.
Yeah.
I made it very
resignation.
clear that I am absolutely fine with resigning if people are not happy with the way that I've been doing things. I'm absolutely fine with that. It takes very little to get things started. All that really has to be done is a packet needs to be put together and submitted to the Cattaraugus school for busing. It's very limited what
Do
it
you
has to
wanna do this?
Say, yeah, even though you
Yeah.
agreed to resign at that.
Do you wanna be, do you?
I don't want the program to end. I don't want it to end.
So you don't want to resign if things can be worked out?
You've had one mistake, and how many years have you been doing this? Well, actually, I misworded that.
Yeah.
You've had one incident in the course of how many years of doing this?
15.
About 15.
Yeah. Do you wanna do this?
I will keep doing it. My concern is I don't know how everything's gonna work out without ESADO being part of it. ESADO does not know that they've withdrawn. The community does not know. I was waiting to, I didn't wanna be disrespectful and say something to the community before I met with you, because the last time I spoke with Eric was honestly a week before.
I've seen in the emails here, he said something about, I think it was November, they were talking about having a public hearing on this. Like, did they have that, is that like incorporated or something, or?
My guess is he's talking about the budget hearing.
Yep.
Whether anyone attends their budget hearings in East Otto, I don't know. They're not usually well attended here or
That's a no.
at all attended.
So then, what we'll need to do then, we don't have the time tonight, but we need to very, very soon, because who's all on the youth council committee? It's Wart and who else?
Myself involved.
The two of you, all right? If the two of you can meet with Stacy, go over expectations, since you two are handling that committee, and maybe work with Jay. I don't know, would we need to have a contract and list like,
Do you
here's,
need one? No. Do both sides probably want one? Yes.
Okay.
Because it's
You have
better
guidelines
for the future, so that everybody knows what's going on.
all right, so if you can, I mean, you guys can work it out, but if you get this done before the next meeting, so that we can make sure that, because we're not having a second meeting this month because of Memorial Day. So for the meeting in June, you guys can have everything squared away so that you're able to get the ball rolling, get everything set before July 6th or whatever the start date is for the program. Figure all that out, and then maybe come back on, when is it, June what? Our meeting in June is, you ready for me?
June 8th?
I got one quick question before we wrap this up. If East Otto isn't part of this, how much is it gonna hurt your program?
A lot. When
Can you have the program without East Otto?
Yes.
Okay, so what we'll have to look at then in
We
regards
had
to.
already, we had looked at cutting, like, we had kind of done like a little outline
Yeah, we have a proposed
of
budget
what it would look
that
like.
she was going to review in more depth.
Is,
The mayor was gonna review in more depth. We just haven't met about it.
Okay, so would that entail like just cutting costs such as maybe possibly some pay, I don't know, other type of services that, what all you guys have included?
Can I get a fee maybe from the kids, parents, maybe a small fee or something to help out, or?
I think we could, youth council can all meet and
We're gonna try to, yeah, we gotta.
figure some ideas to keep the program going.
I agree with that, is that you guys meet with Stacy, and then then we'll come back and meet on the 8th and get everything situated. Also, want you guys to work, like, if you can list what your duties are that you're doing now,
Okay.
and then you guys, when you're talking with her, see whatever else you would like to see happen or have her handle, and then hand that to Jay, and see if he can come up with a contract for her, and we can get that all squared away so that everything is done properly, and that there's no, well, I said this, he said that, none of that bull crap, that we're actually able to get that taken care of, and then hopefully this can continue to go off without a hitch.
yeah,
Does anybody else have any issues with that?
is it even remotely possible to get that back in the program? I mean, they'd have to agree to it and everything else, but
We'll have to
is-
work,
is
yeah.
there a way
If
we
they're
can
a
approach it?
June 1 fiscal year, then they've already passed their budget that's going to be effective June 1.
Was
So that
if they
means
have-
they're
No,
probably-
their budget was effective January 1.
Oh, they're a January 1?
Yes, they're a town.
Okay.
They're a
Oh,
town,
okay.
so they would be January 1. If they didn't put it in their budget, it all depends on whether there's a contingent that they could pull from and whether they would be willing to pull from.
You might be able to use excluding the East Ottawa kids from the programs as a political bludgeon over the heads of the town of East Ottawa members in order to try and convince them, hey, you want to let this back in or else you're going to get a bunch of voters that are
Well, I
angry.
wanted to put something in the paper, but I didn't wanna do that until I had met with you, because things are different now, and I didn't wanna disrespect, I just wanted to.
I mean, bludgeon in a friendly way.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, no, and I just put it out there that this is just something very basic, so they know, because there are gonna be some very angry parents whose children have been in this program for many years, who are,
I got some ideas, we'll get with you with the legalities of it, and we'll check it out, all myself, and her, and we'll get the ball rolling, so.
And then also going forward, if there ever was to be any type of auditing that was requested by the previous board and also what was requested by East Otto, if there ever was, just stating, then make sure that you do state that it is confidential, as Jay has advised you of, so that that information cannot be public. I mean, I know that biggest concerns would be,
You can be the one who holds the paper and say, I could give you copies, but are you going to keep good track of it? And if not, would you mind just looking at the paper and then letting me keep it?
I mean, that should be
And
an
that-
issue that
but
people,
you have to
both parties
negotiate
can
with that
come
to
together.
see.
Yeah,
and
we'll just have to
understand.
look and see what the legal standard is, who's got the right to look at it, the town or the parents.
But town board members probably do have that.
But that might also, I mean, then maybe there should be a disclosure form for kids that sign up for the program, because, I mean, as Jay has stated, that, I mean, the powers of
Well,
auditing.
just something to let the parents know, hey, town board members audit for spending of public funds.
Correct.
They may ask to know who's in the program, so you might want to include that if you have a packet that you give to parents or any info.
Yeah,
It
I was gonna ask
just
that.
says to
Did they
them,
have a sign?
we don't give out the names except as required by law.
this
And
is the
respect
letter
our-
I've written. Okay, this is a schedule, this goes home to all the parents, a little bus schedule, and
Is that Comic Sans?
it's for children, and I like it, this is
It's not a
Kathleen
print
writing,
font.
I know, it's for children. Okay, this is what I got 15 years ago from whoever the lawyer was before.
Sure.
This is it. This is what we've always used. It's been signed, notarized. This is what it is.
You might want to, and I can work with you in modifying, just include, say, hey, Public- public officials, elected officials may request information because they're the ones who pay for the program on who attends, and we will confidentially disclose that information to them, something like that to modify the
Do you
form.
have one or do you want to have one?
And I'll be talking with them about any modifications to the
Okay.
future.
Oh, it's fine. That's just what I was given, so that's what we've always used. And
No, yeah, that's how things go.
no one's.
And just so you're aware, I mean, back when the organizational meeting took place, you were listed as a position for youth council, so nothing of that has changed. So if you're still good with that, you can move forward, and then you guys can meet, discuss, and we'll work out the contracts, and hopefully have everything hammered by the 8th.
Sounds great.
Sounds great?
Yes.
Everybody all good with that?
Absolutely.
All right, you're all set, thank you
Thank you.
for coming in.
Thank you, Stacy.
Appreciate it very much.
Good luck with your program.
Have a good night.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so you guys have that written, you'll follow up with her, you know. All right, moving on, reports and officials and committees. Starting off will be the police department.
For those who don't know me, I'm Michael McCarthy, officer in charge. And everybody should have a monthly board report in front of you in the previous month. And currently we've been working on with the lady from police grants help for the bulletproof vest, for equipment, computer, specifically car, radio, radar, and equipment for the car.
Okay,
We got a new computer in the office, so we're all set there.
do you know where is that, how long it'll take for her to come up with a grant to write it up and then we submit it
It should be very soon. She's working on it for me, and she said she'd have it done within this month.
within this month?
Yes.
Okay. Who the heck did I speak with? I spoke with somebody, I don't know if it was a sheriff or, no, what, was it at, a meeting of ours that we attended? Was it municipal
Municipal
officials?
officials?
It must
Or
have.
Geneseo?
Genesee,
That's the only, those are the
I
two that.
can't remember, but I talked to somebody and they said about that the guns that the police use, that the village has to have guns for that. That it should not be an officer carrying their own and using it in the line, when they're on duty. Civil service it was,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you were a part of that too, Bruce. So.
Because I've worked in several part-time, places with part-time police officers, and none of them supply weapons. I mean, that'd be up to the board if you wanna.
Well, that's something that we
Funding for that
also
is
need to
expensive.
see if we're able to apply for a grant to do such. I
Okay.
know before, what, we had a shotgun?
We have a shotgun in the car.
Okay, so we have a shotgun, but
Yes.
as far as a pistol, I mean, there should be one, I mean, if they have to go out and, are they able, I don't see why you couldn't go up to the round gun if they're, it works good. If they want, for them to fit for themselves, I don't know what legalities are, so please don't quote me on
I mean,
that.
it would have to be a gun per officer. Because to come in, you had the gun before me, I don't know what you did with it. It's a very, I take care of my weapon, I know it works, it's something you gotta count on that, when you use it, it needs to work. So,
Are you sure that's what they said, is that the
That's-
village has to supply the?
That we
They
are,
said to look into it is what they said.
they said that, as far as I'm aware, when they said about the police department, is that we are to have our own, that the officers are not to use their own guns when on duty. That's what, what's her name?
Is that how we got into that conversation
Mallory?
about the old?
Yes.
Mallory and Chris Lee that we
Mallory.
met with.
Yes, from civil service, that's
That's
what they
all
were
they said, they would have to have more than one gun, I mean.
Yeah, there might have been a misunderstanding as to whether or not it's required versus whether it's advisable for the village to have its own arsenal that's maintained and looked after and kept. But police officers do typically carry their own pistols. But from a workers' compensation or a liability standpoint, for them to be inspected or looked at, or for there to be safety training to ensure that that's been taken care of, typically municipalities can and do require the officers either have annual training with, the insurance sends out a person that does safety training that everybody sits and their eyes glaze over for an hour. Here's how you clean your guns if you don't already know that. But it lowers the insurance rates for villages and prevents people who shoot their vests tied to trees, stuff like that.
well, we typically, in the past, have, everybody brings in their forms from their other departments. Everybody here works for some other department. To save money on training, everybody qualifies annually, so they would bring in their certificates from their other departments and give them to me. This year I put in the budget to do, I have a guy that would come out and qualify us, everybody qualifies with their gun, the state qualification, that way everybody qualified with the gun they're carrying.
Okay. Can we look into that more in regards to what is the proper, I mean, because the two ladies at civil service were quite baffled, and maybe it's just cheaper for for municipalities such as the village to not have our own arsenal that, an officer comes in, brings it in. But I mean, we have to provide safety vests, we have to provide all this, and for us not to, is, I mean, cause then that's putting them in jeopardy. They're not to bring their own, it's something that the village is supposed to supply. That is what was stated in civil service for equipment wise. So we need to make sure that for the grant that we're able to get these vests, and we're able to get, maybe even see something about Arsenal, if there's anything that can be, I don't
Yeah, I'll
know.
talk to her tomorrow, see if there's any.
If you can,
weapons
because
grants.
we have to have that stuff, if that's the
Yeah.
law, so.
Maybe we ought to recheck, just double check with them and find out the exact,
Because if they're, for instance, from what I understand when we spoke with them, is that, say they bring their own, safety vest, because the village doesn't have one, so they're not provided, and they get shot, just saying, I mean, the likelihood of that is very minimal, but just saying they did, and then their vest failed, I mean, it's ultimately that family or that officer can sue the village, because the village did not provide them the equipment that to keep them,
PPE, personal protective equipment.
yes. So, I
And
mean.
the grants aren't available all year long all the time, you know, there's a certain, at the beginning of the year, you know, through May, that the grants are available for the best. So somebody coming in, like I said, most guys work for another department already.
We
So
might
they have
need
the
to-
best, and it's just, since I've been here and before I got here, I mean, I did get a vest when I first got in, we got in the grant program.
Okay.
And we tried a couple other times, and we had to go through the sheriff to do it, and it just gets lost in the, we're just a little guy. And
Well, that's something that we have to make sure that we protect both the village and its
Yeah.
employees.
And I mean, my budget doesn't support buying vests,
Well,
because we
might
have a
to-
higher turnover as part-time, you know, we have young guys, and they
And
work
that's
here, they
something-
move on, it's just the way it's,
And that's something else that we'll need to discuss in regards to is, in regards to personnel and with the turnover, which, Tom, I would like, I don't know if you have anything available this week. Do you have a date that you're available? Obviously, we might
I'll
have
tell
to,
you what I tell everybody else, you tell me and I'll.
I mean, is Wednesday, are you available on Wednesday night?
yeah, they want to,
What time will you be home?
Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Tuesday?
Yeah. Trying to think, why is Wednesday gonna bring?
Joint planning board at
That's
7.
it.
Bo and I have the joint planning board meeting at 7 p.m. But I can be in town by 5:30 or so. I'm gonna have to shower, but I can be in town.
Okay. Or can we meet maybe in an hour and a half? Shouldn't last more than a half hour, an hour, for anything. Can we, so then you can go to your other
Yeah.
meeting. Can we meet on Wednesday,
Mhm.
discuss personnel as well and some plans with the police department? Because that's something that I would like to see is that we also are able to spend money for equipment as well,
Okay.
allocate that accordingly. And you know, because I met with Shannon Good, the town justice, that, this was last month I met with him, in regards to tickets and revenue that the village gets from the police department. I think we got like a whopping $30 because everything has to be classified under village law in order for the village to get the monies for it.
yeah.
What all is village law, and if we're able to write tickets so that, I don't feel that it's fair that the village taxpayers or residents pay for the police department, but pretty much the town gets the money that these guys write tickets for. I mean,
I mean, but Rose knows, we fought this battle for forever.
and when I spoke with Shannon, I, talked about, well, what about a village justice, Well, in regards to that, then that would be, it'd be cutting each other's throat, and for the money and everything that it costs, so on and so forth, I don't know. I mean, it's something that we're gonna have to talk with the town as well, to see about maybe getting some type of percentage that's written off the tickets, I don't know. But can you explain though what village law tickets are, and if we're able to increase those so
I mean,
that,
that would be village ordinance, anything in the village ordinance, like a village parking ticket,
Village speeding isn't,
no.
so when they go to, so if you get them for speeding, and they come into the court and they get
Violation of
reduced.
state vehicle and traffic law.
Yeah.
So that's not gonna count, but things that do count typically, and I don't know if Cattaraugus has a law in books, open container.
Yes, we have open
Yeah,
container.
open container would be a village law. Disorderly conduct, that's typically a village law. So that would be something where the tickets should be coming to the village.
What about like domestic violence calls, or does that go to the
No,
town?
those are penal law, state penal law, so that's, again, that's gonna go on the town for the most part.
Yeah.
There's another good example I have. drunk disorderly. But anyway, things like that. You've got building containers if they want. Simple trespass and harassment. I know harassment is a local law as well, I'm sorry, village law. So try and write some more harassment tickets. And harassment is just where you. Look for harassment where you can find it. It's where you had intent to annoy or alarm somebody, intent to alarm somebody else, and it causes them reasonable fear for their safety. Look for some more harassment tickets, because that's a village law.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Because
those
the
are,
village ordinance is probably be updated, it's been a while,
okay.
that might be something we wanna look into updating.
Because I just want to see some way that we can get some revenue back that the taxpayers pay for the police department and that we run it effectively, but also that, you know, if anything, maybe the money that we get from tickets can be used for equipment, can be used for certain stuff like that. I think that would be,
You know, they reduce all the,
To a parking.
To a parking
is a
ticket.
violation of.
I don't know if they could reduce it to a village parking.
They could, it's a question of whether or not the village justice would allow it, and whether or not the village, or I'm sorry, the town justice and town prosecutor would. I can tell you typically they plead it down to a 1203B.
Yeah,
And that's a state one, but village could have a parking ordinance, and we could try and
we do have
ask the
parking
town.
lots, yeah.
Well, we could ask the town justice, hey, maybe make it a policy that you work us into a little bit on those, and not just care about the state surcharge ones.
do you know, is there other municipalities as such, like the village, that pays for the
Yeah,
police
Bowanda.
department?
You're talking about Bowanda, a whole 5 minutes north of us.
Yeah.
Bowanda's got the police department, Persia and Collins have the courts. Persia and Collins kick back some of the money from tickets, and I don't even think it's just village law tickets. It might be others, but if it's the police, the village police write it up. It happened in within the village boundaries, but the towns kick some of that money back to the village for having the police. And if the town of New Albion doesn't want to share, that's when you start beating the drum of, well, we'll start our own damn village court, and the costs be damned. And then maybe you would be willing to share, so that we don't have to waste everybody's money.
Okay, so
But
then
we
we
have to start beating that drum.
So then we'll need to speak with the town board in regards to getting a share of what the.
Yeah, have a contract where we get a percentage of,
Okay,
rather than doing our own village justice.
Typically, it doesn't make sense to have your own village justice
Right.
or the village justice clerk, because those, they're not cheap. Even $5,000 a year, and they would have a huge docket for $5,000 a year, it's still money you want to pay if you've already got the town justice.
because then he also explained to me how money went to the county and went to the state, I mean,
It depends on the ticket, what it's pled to.
Yeah.
Yep, that I've seen plenty of times.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Like when he pays the parking tickets, it all stays in the town, right?
If he does it through 1203,
Yes.
if he goes through 1201, the state now has a new surcharge on that, so they will. Some of the local prosecutors have been switching over to 1203 for that reason. Some of the local justices have been pushing back. It's all good fun. Cat and mouse.
Oh, and one last, I'm sorry. All right, and then also for, the community picnic, I don't know if you're around or not, but we discussed the last meeting, is that, when the community picnic is going on, that we would like, police presence, for the whole day. Maybe even see about putting up a booth and, you know, demonstrating, I don't know, some type of awareness or safety things or something that the police officers could do. And then also one little thing I'd like to see is that if maybe we're able to have kids ride in the cop car. And not like to say, oh, this is what it's like to be arrested, but so that they don't fear the police, that they embrace them. They're like, you know, when they see them driving by, they wave instead of like. That's what I'd like to see, that it's a better involvement with the police department, and that it is truly, as we've stressed, community involvement.
So what day was this?
August, 15th, 16th, I believe. Let's see here.
August 15th.
August 15th, yes. It'd be all day,
All day.
yes, so.
Yeah.
And, you know, and have officers, whoever's employed with the police department at that point in time, so the biggest thing that I wanna see is that we have less turnover, and that at least one or two deputies are pretty constant, people know who they are. You know, I've heard a lot of great things about both Shane and Jim. You know, Jim actually goes to Pascarella's and has dinner or breakfast, stops at businesses. Like, that's great stuff, that people, you know, they know Jim, they see him coming around. So when they see him, they're like, hey, you know, it's kind of Mayberry-ish, But I mean, I know that term is whatever, but I think that's great for our little community.
Yeah, Jim and Shane are good officers, Dan's a good officer, and they've been here for a little bit now.
Yes. So I'd like to see us, if we're able to keep them instead of, I mean, unless they get like a position higher up with the county, or if they get a state police job, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, that's what happens, is that, eventually, most of the guys looking for part-time are younger.
All right, so we'll discuss more of that. All right, I'm sorry, so I didn't mean to interrupt you in regards to your whole report.
All right, I mean, just about the grants, that's all I had in the board report. And if you guys got any more questions or anything, or any input you ever have, feel free to call
Are
me.
you still off, or
Yes, I'm off till June 2nd,
June 2nd, you'll be back?
yes. They just wanted me to stay a little longer, because I had a concussion and just wanted me to heal right. And I feel good now, but that's what I mean. But I take care of the payroll and then scheduling and everything else, so
Right.
part of it.
Okay.
All right, and then we're gonna meet on Wednesday, at what time do we say?
5:30.
Back there. Right here. Cool. Do you have anything else, sir?
That's all I got. And Rose has my email, my phone number, anybody ever needs to get a hold of me, any problems, just give me a call anytime, day or night.
Wonderful.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too, thanks.
All right, that one's done. Oh, Big John, going over for streets and DPW and water and sewer. What do you have to report, sir?
All right, we got Jared Bradley straightened out, as you request.
Yes. What did we figure out with that?
The valve wasn't all in.
So now he's got enough pressure to run his car wash.
He's got 110 pump power.
Alright.
He needs about a quarter of that for the car wash. But there's a pressure regulator incorporated into that, which when you look part of that, it's coming out, it doesn't. You need more volume, you need pressure for that. That's, yeah, he's good. He's got everything he needs now.
Wonderful.
Irwin's, they poured 43 feet of 5-foot sidewalk and 92 feet of 4-foot sidewalk, and a total of 135 feet of sidewalk they replaced.
That was RA? That was Mercer, or?
That's Mercer, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, Mercer, okay. The ambulance needs to put in approximately 70 feet, if that's, I'm measured from the last block to the blacktop.
Okay.
As you asked for me to find out.
Thank you.
Okay, summer help, 3 applications, there was 4. Ray cannot come back, as I've understood that he's not a college student, he's done school, so it's always been, to my understanding, we always hire kids that are college bound. There's 3 others. I guess the 3 will do. That's about our only choice, I mean, not being mean, but that's the choices we have, and
Do you know who they are?
Yes, the Brown Board boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're applying. But they actually filled out an application.
You're right.
Lacey Schneider is one of them,
Uh-huh.
okay? Caleb Wares and the Brown report.
Okay, so those 3, so then you are stating that you will accept all 3 applicants to be summer help for this year?
Yes.
When would they be starting?
I am guessing they're about around June 16th or 17th, depending on the end of school. The Brown boy is signed up for driver's ed, with me taking away a few hours a day here and there.
But you can work with that.
We can work with that, we don't have a problem with that.
Do you know, does the Schneider girl and does Caleb, do either one have any other engagements that they have to fulfill, like Romberg?
I did not see of any, no. I asked them, I didn't actually talk to Caleb, no.
Okay, so then we'll need to pass a resolution for the hiring of all 3, correct?
Are any of them, do any of them have driver's licenses where we need to have their?
Caleb does.
Caleb does, so we need to provide that to the insurance company, just for their approval. I mean, they could say that he can't drive the truck if there's an issue, but, I don't think we've had a summer kid declined.
Okay, so can I get a motion then to hire? You were accused yourself of it, understood? All right, so can I
Hold on a
have,
second, yeah.
What?
Your relation,
Yeah, Caleb's my stuff.
can you, John, on there, just tell me when the application was filled out for Caleb?
Yes, sir, I can.
Or that's my point.
See. 3/2/15.
So that'd be well before you were even part of the board. I just wanna make the point that I see exactly why you wanna recuse yourself, it's not an issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanna make sure everybody knows that.
yep,
No.
just like what I had to do with Jason.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so can I have a motion then to hire, 3 applicants in summer help for the season?
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
All right, so Wirt made the motion, Tom seconded it, all in favor say aye.
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 All right, Jason did not vote, and it's approved and carried.
Wirt made the motion?
Yes.
I thought you put your hand up.
I did, but
He's gonna say- I stole the second. one.
He stole the
they
second.
spoke before I,
You can have that.
All right, sorry, Big John, go ahead.
Okay, roads to bees, and I'm looking at the chip seal. I'm still trying to look around and find where we left off. I'll work on that some more. What I'm looking at right now is, we'll probably do Jefferson Street from 353 to the bridge. Waverly Street, 353 to South Street. First, second, third, and Memorial. First, second, third will go from 353 to South. Memorial will go all the way down to Chuck Sense, they're about where we'll usually stop. Possibly looking to do with Lincoln Street. And maybe a couple spots in South Street, I'd like to patch through a couple water holes. And.
You said Waverly was from, what, the bridge to south?
No, Waverly is from 353 to South Street.
Oh, okay.
Jefferson is 353 to the bridge. And the bridge around the corner needs a little more TLC.
Okay.
And possibly some more work, maybe chip sealing down on Waverly Street from Cannery Road to the dead end, the bottom, where you want to call that.
Have you talked to Suco or Midland or anybody?
Tomorrow morning at 9:30, I'll be meeting with, Supco.
So none of this was in the works or started, by the previous superintendent then?
Not to my knowledge. I'm trying, I think, if my memory serves me right, these are all the roads that should be on the 3 or 4 year rotation we had. Lincoln Street, 4 years, 5 years is good, it's not a heavily traveled street, dead end street, 2 houses on it,
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Traveled pretty good. I believe that part of Memorial has probably been done more than the lower part, that's, showing signs of distress.
Anything on Franklin?
Possibly from Jefferson Street to Washington. Maybe just down over the hill a little bit before.
Okay.
As far as what I can see from Franklin Street, from Jefferson Street down past the school, it needs work. The biggest thing we gotta do is we gotta get the drainage straightened out. We've got water that runs down the road, runs into lawns, lays in the sidewalks. The drainage is poor, it doesn't work down there. That's quite a project. Down the road, if we ever get some extra money ahead, that we can start spending money on, capital improvement or whatever,
Okay.
that's definitely a street that could stand to be looked at.
Would that qualify, then we should be getting FEMA reimbursement money for the project on West Hill?
Yes. And you
That's something
probably,
you'd be interested
and
in.
you probably could put some of your CHIPS money into it, that's a 10-year project, I believe most of your CHIPS stuff is. I mean, it's something we'd have to start at the bottom and work our way to the top, because any water we run in would have to get to where we've got to go, and then we got if we start dumping all the water from that street down the creek, down the edge of the road, we gotta look at, here we go. The village, it's not the village's road, when we break the top of the hill, blah, 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 but we don't know the legalities, all that, how far extensive we have to go, what kind of undertaking would be, we stop here or two, if we have to have X amount of riprap in, so it couldn't wash and couldn't you know, I'm sure there's rules and, you know, you just can't, you probably could, but then again,
There
why
was,
get yourself in trouble?
I don't mean to interrupt you
Go
again,
ahead.
but, and Rose included here, have we gotten anything back in the forms of a permit from the state to work in there right away? When we'll address later, Corey, but he gave me a copy, basically, of a permit he'd sent in, so that we could do some sort of work he had thought about anyway. That was in
I've
the
not
state.
seen anything.
No, okay. Be on the lookout for it, I suppose.
I will. John, can I double check the list of roads? I had Jefferson and Waverly, and I think I missed something between Waverly and Memorial
First, second, third.
for second and third. Thank you.
But we'll probably know more. I'll take her around and
Got to measure roads.
do a measure, and then if I remember correctly on the FEMA project for Leavenworth, that Jason did put in for most of that remediation was backfill, ditches and gravel compacted, and a double chip seal applied to that, but I'm sure that comes out of, it would be underneath our FEMA money, we gotta see where that's coming from and what's going on with that.
Well, we have a meeting with, who is it, Simmons on Monday,
Yep.
next Monday, is it?
Yeah, don't forget about that.
Rose, can you put that Big John and myself have a meeting with Simmons, what was it, 9 or 9:30?
9:30, so I don't wanna miss my 9 o'clock cereal.
That's right. So 9:30 here at the Village Hall. We're going to go over the blue books and also to go over all the work that has been done.
Okay.
And we did already, so the one blue book, was that for $100,000 or was the whole project for $100,000? Because I know there's another blue book that I spoke with Mac about that I think there's a total of 2 blue books for this, which
The
is.
way I understood it, just to jump in, I think the one that we got was supposed to be for in the neighborhood of the 100,000.
So the other one,
And then,
My understanding is each PW would then generate a blue folder.
do you know how much the value of each one is by chance?
I wasn't involved in any of the
Okay.
Simmons work in the
Alright, so-
village.
but just from what's in my gut, what I can remember, I think the one we got was with regard to the West Hill stuff, which should come out around 100,000.
And
So
that
then
was,
anything else would be on top of that.
okay, so, and did we already receive the check from the state for that?
I'm not aware of any funds coming to
I
the
talked to
village.
you earlier today about it, the folder, the blue book, the folder, whatever you wanna call it, is basically the preliminary things that we're
Right,
getting.
the blue folder is not the check.
Right.
The
it's
blue
that we're
folder
gonna-
is a step on the way to getting,
that it's been
the
approved
check
and
and the
we
money.
should be receiving the check, but, okay.
that's my understanding.
Go on, Big John.
Okay. Streets, sidewalks. I took a look around today and well, the way I determine what I've seen is we've pretty much started working at the school, working our way up. And we kind of changed our directions a little bit on some of it, why, I don't know, it was discretion of the previous board, which is, that's fine, that's their decision, but still within the realm of where we were working. But we left off over on Jefferson Street, I didn't get the exact address, but it's over there by Bob Hebert's place to the end,
Okay.
okay? There's a tree, it's gotta be removed.
For
There's no-
Jefferson?
Yes, there's no sense moving forward, it's a big old tree, I mean, it's,
Whose house?
it would be Ebert's, I think it's Ebert's house right there on the corner. As you turn the corner and head down Jefferson, you'll see it, you know, that's where we stop the sidewalk.
Oh, okay.
There's 2 more along the way. I met with Kurt today, we looked it over. Neither one of us had wheels, so we didn't get exact measurements. But he said he'd measure it for me tomorrow, I think figure it out. But that tree definitely has gotta get out of our way.
Do you know how many trees we're looking to do this year?
We're gonna get to that here, once I get done with this, yes. Because I wanna light up some stuff on my table trees. Then we did from Mark Agnew's driveway. We're down the White Street on, yeah, well, however we wanna look at it. If you're going down Franklin Street towards the school, White Street's down there on the left-hand side, so you've got from White Street, just past the school driveway down to 5-foot walks.
Okay,
All right, there's a small section there that's already 5 foot. Walk down through there with curb, there's 2, if not 3 trees that gotta get out of the way.
do you know whose trees those are?
No, well, one is Andy Hogan. The other one, I believe, might be Brett Bradley, is it Brett that lives there?
Right next to
David
Angie?
Betzel place?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, then there's one right up there that's right next to the fence, right at the end of that fence, I don't know if it's Andy Bars or the next place.
Okay, I know where you're
I know
talking
what
about.
the tree you're talking about, so
Okay.
I can,
So
That
Bar
there,
Avery?
he is gonna, I don't know what we've budgeted for sidewalks for this year, but I will have some measurements,
Okay,
and I can save some money by providing a man a dump truck and a driver to load the walks into, and we haul them away and dump them, that way he's not, you know, he can shorten up with one man, or shorten up his crew, and we can keep moving along.
okay,
And I don't have a problem doing that, you know. We've done it before in the past, but if it saves us a few nickels and we might get an extra 20 feet, by all means, you know, I don't have a problem with that. Other than that, I guess I'm open to what everybody else thinks we should do for walks. I mean, that would give us Franklin Street to the school, at the intersection of Jefferson and Franklin, that would give us all the way to the school on both sides, 5-foot walks to the school driveway.
okay.
They were past that point. And that would give us a good 5-foot wide sidewalk from the corner of Ellicott to Franklin along Jefferson, and that is new pretty much all new 5-foot sidewalk from Ellicott all the way to length of Ellicott, I believe. I mean, we would, and on the other side of Elliott Elementary, there's a tree in the way, there's, you know, it's gotta come down, or, you know, I can't see corners so far off. It's ridiculous.
there's one spot where that was done, the tree's no longer there, and it
Yeah,
was
it's still,
pathetic.
but if we take the tree down there, that section there wouldn't take much to figure. But the section now from the corner of Washington and Franklin going towards the school to Jefferson, there's several large trees. They're not the greatest thing in the world, but I'm sure that there will be some opposition made, and there always is when it comes to cutting trees in the buildings here, so it's been a.
Well, on top of that, now we're talking more trees we need to take down and do more sidewalk, we're looking at tree money and typically the
Yes.
Great Fisher.
Yes, yes.
Do you know how many trees we'll be able to do this year?
I have no idea what's budgeted, what's left over.
Okay, I'll find that out for you.
I need some more things like that. And I will go and I will get with Ray and I'll take Ray, we'll take a drive around town. I'll get addresses or we'll mark the trees with a red X. Then if two board members wanna go and investigate and see what we're looking at, what we're doing, and what's going on.
Since we're all a part of the DPW and streets and all that, I think we all should go around.
Yeah.
Tree cleaning, well,
It is, as well, so you can go knock on the doors and say, look, there's certain areas of this village, I mean, over on Franklin Street, we've got a lot of kids walking. I mean, we'll look at trees, that, you know, branches like this are coming out of the, you know, all the sides of them or that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a tree hater, but after a while, you gotta think of a liability,
Absolutely.
you know?
Bless you.
And my question's been over the past few years is how things change and how things, well, how long is before that village-owned tree takes down, falls down that street, rips all the power lines down, the cable lines, telephone lines? How long for these other entities are gonna come back and say, hey, it's your tree? Hey. Maybe it never will happen because it's an act of God. But the last one over there split, was hollow from, I'm guessing about 18 feet in the air to where it hit the ground. I mean, it was split. I mean, it's just a, fairly calm day, just, in the water and the black dirt just went out. I mean, it just,
Where was
Split.
that now?
corner of, Washington and Franklin, right there in front of, Bill Myers' house, the one on the corner. I mean, just
Nice.
literally split.
so
You're talking a tree, 3 feet, 4 foot long, just splitting, I mean, when you know a tree is bad, you know it's rotten.
Do you know when, so you're going out with Ray to look at trees and put an X on them tomorrow, you said?
No, whenever he gets freed up. He said probably this week he's pretty busy, but he was trying, you know, if it rains or whatever, he'd probably get a hold of me.
If you, when you guys actually do, could you, give myself a call and then I'll get all the trustees and we can all go look at the trees?
Yeah, so we get them marked, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
You know,
so that if we need to, we can also talk to the residents to inform them of that and hopefully,
you guys
Or
will
we
run
go-
over the hills after the second house, probably.
How many board members meeting at one time to do this?
are we,
Well-
are all of us able to look at the trees
Yeah,
and also?
you should
We
be
ain't gonna look
72
at
hours.
it, yeah,
notice. Just make sure that you have Rose put notice on the door 72 hours in advance and to the website to let people know that you will be meeting. Officially, it'll count as a meeting. It has to count as a meeting because there'll be more than two of you together, or five.
Correct.
Yep, and taking down village trees is village business. Can I ask, does the village take down trees themselves, or do you contract out for somebody to top them and take them off?
That's all contracted out. And the deal is, if people want the wood, they can have the wood. If they don't want the wood, Mr. Fisher closes it on his truck and disposes at his work. If I want the firewood, I pay Mr. Fisher for the firewood.
So if a resident wants the wood, besides the one that lives there at that property, somebody else wants it, they gotta.
If they want it, what they do, that's their own business.
Right.
But in past practice, only, you know, there's been times where, you know, everything lays there and they're all happy with the stuff like this and stuff like this, but when the butt lays there like this and they go back, well, we can't do nothing with it, you come move it,
Gotcha.
you know. I mean, it's not a problem, we can get it moved if it's, you know, or it can be said if you don't, you know, if you want such, it's pretty much the rule of thumb is you take it all,
Yeah, it should be.
you know, and take it all, and that's the way it works. That's right.
Do you know, as far as sidewalks, I know I've had a complaint on North Main, would be Keith Gassman about his sidewalk,
His complaint is,
wants it fixed, is what he's made. I don't know what's wrong with it, if you could take a look at it and see what's going on with it, I have not a clue.
There's
yeah,
a tree on there that was taken down a long time ago, and the roots lifted the thing up. If you put just a little bit of packing in between, it would eliminate the.
Is that what it is then?
Trip, yeah.
Okay.
That's probably what it is.
that's
That's
what
not
they
good.
look at.
Tell from the road, I did look at that spot on my way here, actually, then.
All right.
Oh, do you know in regards to streets, I'm sorry, do you know, is the county going to fix that part of 12 from Washington to South?
No idea, sir.
Where you work for the county? Do you have an idea?
No, I don't, that's not my level of expertise over there.
It isn't. Do you know, are we able to contact anybody in the county?
Yeah, I can check on it and see what's
What's-
going on.
Well, I don't want that to be a conflict of
No,
interest,
no, no, I
since you
won't.
work for them, but, I mean,
I can
it's
ask, I think I can ask them the question, or what's going on here, you know.
or, because if not, if they're not gonna, I mean, could we do a shared service where they could even pay our guys to, if anything, at least patch it? It's so terrible, I mean,
And that's where?
from,
This Carter Street down you're talking?
no, from,
That too.
no, that too as well,
Mud Creek, you mean?
Mud Creek Hill, and then
No, that's
from
ridiculous.
Ellicott to
Oh,
Washington,
right.
right there by the,
Yeah.
it's,
Almost
Hell.
throws you right off the road.
No, that bridge on Waverly is county, right?
No, that's town.
That's town?
They're both town. The
Yes.
one next to my house.
Yep,
and
Jefferson
the
and
one
Waverly, and
is town.
they're on the FEMA Simmons thing, they're working on that with Simmons.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
I'm getting a little concerned about that sewer pump.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rolling away, I mean, it's still got a little bit, but we know it doesn't take much to make more than the sewer pump will be in the creek. And the sewer will be in the creek. It's neat, not yet. But it's backhoe for trading backhoes. I
Yes.
called the salesman from John Deere. He's supposed to be down Wednesday. I said, if you could give me some ballpark figures, it would help. But his problem being now that they have to have their appraiser come out and look at it, they don't want their salesman to appraise it. So he's gonna be down Wednesday, and I'm gonna try to pump as much information out of him as I possibly can.
And are we going to be, the one we have now, do we own it, or do we trade it in for a new one? How,
We've been on a 2-year rotation.
okay?
All that work exactly like that.
And do you know about where we stand with our trucks? Or,
Let's see.
Pickup is good.
Pickup's good for 3 years. The truck I'm plowing with now will be its 3rd year next year. That's due for
What-
replacement.
Really, it's only the second year really on the road, isn't it though? But it sat in the shop without the body, so it took so long to get the body on it.
Well, we ended up putting a flatbed on to get through the first year.
That's right, I
And
remember
that
that.
first year I plowed the flatbed on, last year I plowed the box on it.
so this year will be your last, this winter will be,
This will be the 3rd year for that truck.
so then we need a plan for what, next year's budget to get
Yes,
to replace that truck?
yes.
Okay.
So is this year the Bobcat?
Well, that's something I gotta discuss down the road too.